Today, I invite you on a journey, not across maps or roadways, but through remarkable corners of knowledge. We have prepared 300 facts for you, compiled from the most diverse domains: nature, science, mythology, rare histories, and unusual observations, all designed to facilitate effortless sleep. All the facts in this lecture are like tiny glimmers of light. They require no effort. You do not need to memorize them. It is sufficient merely to listen and allow them to flash and fade, creating a gentle, calming flicker before slumber. I welcome you, my dear friends, to the official channel for sleep lectures. Welcome to a space where dreams become knowledge and that very voice guides you through the night. Thank you for your warmth in the comments. Special gratitude goes to our sponsors and everyone who supports the videos using Super Thanks. This aids the channel's growth and simply delights the author every time. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel right now before you drift off. And now, make yourselves comfortable, close your eyes, and let us commence. Fact 1. When a person falls asleep, their brain begins a process of self-cleaning, much like the ocean cleanses the shore during high tide. During sleep, brain cells slightly contract, creating space for interstitial fluid that flushes away molecules associated with fatigue and stress. This is why we sometimes awaken with an unexpected sense of clarity, as if everything internally has been gently rinsed with warm water. Fact 2. When U.S. President Harry Truman left the White House, he did not utilize security details or official motorcades. He simply seated his wife in the passenger seat, got behind the wheel of his own vehicle, and calmly drove home to Missouri, as if an ordinary citizen returning from work. Fact 3. When Abraham Lincoln completed his application questionnaire as a candidate for Congress, he wrote a single word in the education field: insufficient. This serves as a reminder that the great sometimes begin their paths lacking certainty, but possessing honesty. Fact 4. Rattlesnakes are gradually losing their ability to rattle. Scientists are documenting this evolution. In areas with high human activity, those individuals that remain quieter survive more frequently and transmit a silent genotype to their offspring. Nature learns subtlety faster than humankind. Fact 5. The majority of cats exhibit lactose intolerance. Despite popular depictions, an adult cat consuming milk more often experiences digestive upset than pleasure. Their physiology is simply not adapted for lactose digestion. Fact 6. Communication regarding cinema, discussions, debates, and shared emotions significantly strengthens relationships. Partners who watch films together and subsequently discuss them statistically remain closer and achieve a calmer mutual understanding. Fact 7. In Canada, only about 24% of citizens are aware that their official head of state is the British monarch. The rest are convinced that Canada is fully autonomous, which is formally true, but the legal connection still persists. Fact 8. The screenplay for the film American Pie was originally titled very simply, Untitled Youth Comedy to be shot for less than $10 million. The author honestly warned, the content may outrage some, but the audience will certainly enjoy it. Fact 9. Some individuals exhibit equally poor dexterity in both hands. This condition is termed ambisynestria. It is the antithesis of ambidexterity and is rare, but it demonstrates the diversity of human motor characteristics. Fact 10. The owner of the Segway company died after falling off a cliff while operating a Segway device. This paradox became a symbol illustrating that even the safest inventions necessitate caution. Fact 11. In Russia, the proportion of acquittals is less than 2%. This is one of the lowest indices globally, indicating how infrequently the judicial system recognizes a prosecution as erroneous. Fact 12. The Berlin Wall did not bisect the city. It encircled the entirety of West Berlin along its perimeter. The city became, metaphorically, an island within a concrete ring. Fact 13. The name of the New Balance athletic shoe brand is linked to the chicken. Its founder observed how a chicken's foot perfectly maintained equilibrium due to its 3 points of support and decided to transfer this natural structure to athletic footwear. The brand's initial logo featured a chicken wearing sneakers. Fact 14. Certain prominent actors, including Jared Leto, Joaquin Phoenix, and Meryl Streep, do not watch films in which they appear. They believe this impedes creativity and generates unnecessary self-flagellation. Fact 15. Russia is a global leader in the number of women in executive positions, estimated at about 40%. In the United States and Britain, this metric is approximately half that rate. Fact 16. The mean number of readers for a scientific article is merely 0.6 individuals. This implies that the majority of academic research remains virtually unread, aside from the author and the peer reviewer. Fact 17. The countdown clocks in subway systems, displaying time until the train's arrival, are primarily intended for the operator, so they can determine if the train is delayed and if acceleration is necessary. Fact 18. Humans are genetically differentiated in how they manage challenges. Some become disorganized rapidly, while others easily orient themselves. This is not a deficiency of character. It is an inherent characteristic of the nervous system. Fact 19. We cannot contract a common cold from exposure to low temperatures. A cold is caused by a virus, not by low temperature. Cold merely compromises the immune system, affording the virus an opportunity. Fact 20. Following orgasm, the body synthesizes oxytocin, the hormone of trust. This facilitates personal disclosure during moments of intimacy. The body autonomously opens internal barriers. Fact 21. The author George Simenon penned multiple autobiographies, separate volumes detailing different phases of his life. Yet he confessed that he disliked the autobiographical genre because in real life no one says, "I utterly botched it." Yet such idiomatic phrases are constantly encountered in these types of books. Fact 22. In 1956, a certain Ronald McDonald opened a restaurant and named it after himself. The McDonald's Corporation attempted to sue him for trademark infringement, but the court ruled that an individual retains the right to use their own given name. Fact 23. When executing a rapid eye movement, saccade, from one object to another, the brain experiences a momentary perceptual lag. This is the physiological mechanism responsible for the illusion where, upon glancing at a clock, the second hand appears to be moving for longer than a single second initially. Visual processing momentarily catches up with reality slightly belatedly. Fact 24. The father and elder brother of the writer Evelyn Waugh were also authors. His elder brother was even expelled from a prestigious school for publishing a novel featuring an explicitly candid storyline. Evelyn himself was subsequently denied entry to the school entirely, presumably to preclude a recurrence. Fact 25. The words science and shit originate from the same ancient root, ske, which denoted to separate or to divide. This linguistic divergence is not uncommon. While the semantic meaning of the words separates over time, their cognate roots preserve their archaic kinship. Fact 26. When Channel 4 prepared to release a documentary concerning Princess Diana, Princes William and Harry formally requested that it not be broadcast. The film contained footage from the final minutes of their mother's life. The network declined the request and, following the premiere, even staged a discussion arguing for the ethical justification of their decision.
Fact 27. The crocodile's adductor muscles responsible for mandibular closure are significantly stronger than the abductor muscles responsible for opening the jaws. Consequently, the jaws of the giant predator can be manually held shut with a single hand, but forcing them open is virtually impossible. Fact 28. Feta is recognized as one of the most ancient cheeses in recorded history. It is explicitly referenced in Homer's The Odyssey.
This suggests that humans were consuming this cheese over 800 years ago. Fact 29. The historical accuracy of motion pictures is sometimes evaluated by specialized review platforms. The only film to ever receive a 100% certification for historical fidelity was the biopic Selma, concerning Martin Luther King Jr. Even highly renowned cinematic works inevitably permit factual inaccuracies. Fact 30. Prior to 2008, it was legally prohibited in Cuba to purchase a personal computer for private use. The restriction was only lifted following subsequent government reforms. Fact 31. A hernia is not directly caused by the physical act of lifting heavy weights. Rather, existing conditions merely manifest under strain. Lifting a heavy object can only reveal a pre-existing weakness in the connective tissue, but does not intrinsically create the condition. Fact 32. During his childhood, Kazimir Malevich wrote in a school essay, "Being an artist is excellent. You do not need to curse with laborers, and you do not need to haul heavy materials. A quality painting commands a high price, and it can be executed in a single day. Character traits are sometimes discernible from an early age." Fact 33. 1 in 4 men prefers to extinguish the elimination during sexual intercourse. The underlying motivations vary. Some experience self-consciousness, while others achieve greater relaxation in darkness. Fact 34. During the Renaissance, a vast number of paintings were commissioned by the Catholic Church. This influence on artists was far greater than currently perceived. The Church functioned as the era's principal employer. Fact 35. The author of the book Eat, Pray, Love left her husband after realizing she was in love with a female friend who was suffering from cancer. Spiritual quests occasionally commence with profoundly terrestrial, deeply human affection. Fact 36. Saint Veronica is considered the patron saint of photographers. Legend asserts that she offered Christ a cloth while he proceeded to Calvary, upon which his image was miraculously imprinted. This represents the first photograph generated without the use of a camera. Fact 37. The writer Walter Scott observed that his contemporaries could be summarized in a single line: name, date of birth, and date of death. He preferred documenting the past, where narratives are richer and possess greater longevity. Fact 38. In 1908, the Russian Olympic team arrived 12 days late to the London Olympics due to the calendar disparity. Russia was utilizing the Julian calendar, while England adhered to the Gregorian system. Fact 39. Displaying a photograph of one's family on a work desk demonstrably enhances productivity. However, this same individual often exhibits increased irritability at home. A subtle displacement of psychological equilibrium occurs. Fact 40. The Russian idiom meaning "sand is pouring out" originated in the 10th century. Men seeking a more substantial physical profile in tight breeches would insert a small bag of sand. Occasionally, during dance sequences, the pouch would tear, causing the sand to spill directly onto the ballroom floor. Fact 41. The world's first telephone directory listed the owners of telephones but omitted the numerical contacts themselves. Individuals were considered such rare possessors of this luxury that all connections were maintained solely through the operators. Fact 42.
The yellow and red cards used in soccer were conceived by the head of the FIFA Referees Committee after observing a traffic light. The chromatic significance appeared ideal for communicating actions to players that could not be adequately explained verbally across various languages. Fact 43. When an individual sneezes or coughs, minute droplets are dispersed over several meters and settle upon surfaces. Consequently, covering the expulsion with the elbow is demonstrably more effective than using the hand. Fact 44. Only approximately 5% of the global population has flown on an airplane at least once in their lifetime. This renders air travel a considerably rarer and more privileged experience than is generally assumed. Fact 45. The term civil marriage does not denote cohabitation, but specifically refers to a registered union officiated by a governmental authority.
In common parlance, this concept has evolved into its semantic opposite. Fact 46. Dustin Hoffman, discussing the intrinsic value of art, presented the following metaphor. Imagine the Louvre is burning, and before you are the Mona Lisa and a random cat, and you can only rescue one. He often challenged self-evident assumptions. Fact 47. Tolstoy initially intended to title his novel War and Peace differently, All's Well That Ends Well, but subsequently realized the thematic scope was substantially broader. A happy ending. Fact 48. A dog does not recognize the concept of an error. If you trip over it at night, it genuinely believes that you did so deliberately. Animal psychology functions differently. It lacks the concept of randomness. Fact 49. By the fifth move of a game of chess, there are over 318 billion possible combinations for the arrangement of the pieces.
The human intellect is incapable of encompassing even a small fraction of these possibilities. Fact 50. Near the Philippines resides the Bajau people. These individuals spend almost their entire lives on boats. They exhibit a phenomenon that is the inverse of motion sickness. They experience discomfort on land because their physiology has adapted to constant movement. Fact 51. In 1911, the London Underground employed an individual with a wooden prosthetic limb to demonstrate the safety of the first escalators. He simply rode up and down, showing that the mechanism was secure even for those who had lost a leg. Fact 52. In ancient Greece, the word idiot did not serve as an insult, but rather denoted a person who lived detached from public affairs and held no interest in politics. Fact 53. Beneath Antarctica, more than 300 lakes are situated, remaining unfrozen.
They are warmed by geothermal heat from the Earth's interior, forming a vast aquatic world beneath kilometers of ice. Fact 54. The Governor-General of the Philippines, Caburaman Blanca, upon his death, told a priest that he had forgiven all his enemies, then added, "I have no enemies. I had them all shot." Dark humor occasionally endures longer than life itself. Fact 55. Certain vocabulary entries introduced into the Ukrainian language appear as though they were borrowed directly from French, for example, haute couture. However, they actually arrived via Russian vernacular and only subsequently were adapted. Fact 56. In 2009, in the United Kingdom, the manufacturers of Snickers and Mars chocolate bars reduced their mass by 7% while maintaining the original price. The official justification provided was concern for the health of the populace. Fact 57. The film Superman 4 performed so poorly at the box office that it negatively impacted even the sales of the comic books. To revitalize public interest, DC Comics opted to temporarily terminate Superman, marking one of the most publicized events in comic book history. Fact 58. The Turkish keyboard layout was designed based not only on letter frequency, but also on the anatomical structure of the fingers. It is regarded as one of the most ergonomic in the world. Turkish typists have repeatedly set world records for typing speed. Fact 59. Mexican President Pedro Lascurain entered history as the president with the shortest tenure globally. His term lasted between 15 and 55 minutes. He simply executed a formality and transferred authority to the next individual. Fact 60. In the U.S. Midwest, there is a traditional salad composed of sliced apples, Snickers bars, and whipped cream. It is featured even in church recipe compilations, recognized as a dessert that has become a cultural emblem of the region. Fact 61. In Australia, there is. The island is formally designated as Kangaroo Island. Its registration reflects the initial observation by settlers of dense populations of these marsupials, leading to the determination that this nomenclature was optimal. Fact 62. The initial system of European road signage was implemented not by governmental bodies, but by commercial lodging establishments. These indicators were strategically placed to ensure optimal navigation for travelers seeking their specific premises. Fact 63. Pigeons exhibit successful performance in the mirror self-recognition test. This cognitive ability places them among a select group of animals, including cetaceans, proboscideans, and corvids, demonstrating foundational elements of self-consciousness. Fact 64. Historical accounts suggest that the apotropaic efficacy attributed to garlic was not derived from mystical properties, but rather from its potent volatile compounds which effectively masked the malodorous effluvia associated with infectious diseases. Individuals perceived this as protective, though the underlying cause was purely hygienic environmental. Fact 65. The inaugural instance of computer malware was developed devoid of explicit malicious intent, absence of mens rea. The developer's objective was solely to quantify the propagation vectors and spatial reach of the executable code. The subsequent network saturation, affecting 50% of U.S. academic network infrastructure, was an unexpected outcome. Fact 66. The design concept for hook and loop fasteners, Velcro, originated from biomimicry. The inventor observed the adhesive mechanism of burdock seeds clinging to canine pelage. Subsequent microscopic analysis revealed the interlocking hook structure, leading to the successful technological replication known as Velcro. Fact 67. Within certain Ethiopian communities, the cultural practice involves coating the hair with a mixture of animal oil and wood ash. The ash serves as a solar protectant and an insect repellent, while the oil acts as a fixative, increasing the longevity and structural integrity of the coiffure. Fact 68. The Welsh settlement of Llanfair Pwllgwyngyl Gogerich Wyndrabwl holds the designation as one of the world's most extensive place names. This protracted nomenclature was intentionally contrived as a marketing strategy designed to maximize tourism and notoriety. Fact 69. During the 19th century, public health concerns surrounding high-velocity rail travel were prevalent. A prevalent, though scientifically unfounded, theory suggested that exceeding speeds of 40 km per hour, 25 mph, could induce cerebral hemorrhage or rupture the human brain. This physiological anxiety diminished only following widespread adoption of passenger railway transit. Fact 70. The earliest successful capture of the human vocalization occurred not via the phonograph, but utilizing a device incapable of immediate sound playback, a phonotographer.
This historical acoustic artifact remained silent for 130 years until it was successfully rendered audible through advanced digital restoration and signal processing techniques. Fact 71. Fungi are taxonomically classified within their own distinct kingdom, fungi, separate from Plantae and Animalia. Phylogenetic studies confirm that they share a closer genetic relationship with metazoans, animals, than with photosynthetic organisms, plants. Fact 72. The chemical term alcohol was integrated into the majority of global lexicons via the Arabic root al-kul, which initially referred to finely ground cosmetic powder, e.g., kool. Semantic drift transformed its meaning over the course of centuries. Fact 73.
The initial deployment of burning candles within sacred architectural spaces, temples/churches, served a functional purpose beyond devotional ritual. Their thermal and aromatic output was utilized to mitigate the persistent odor of humidity and enhance the ambient air quality within the structures. Fact 74. Regulatory protocols in Germany mandate that a violin must secure an acoustic passport prior to operational deployment. The instrument is subject to rigorous examination and certification, treating it functionally as a complex technical apparatus. Fact 75. Within specific rural communities in India, livestock husbandry practices involve the formal naming of cattle and the observance of their natal anniversaries. This custom is based on the traditional belief that the psychological well-being of the animal correlates directly with superior lactational quality, enhanced milk production. Fact 76. The term influencer emerged long before social networks. It referred to individuals whose opinions shifted fashion, art, or politics. The magnitude of the impact was simply smaller. Fact 77. Pigs can indeed play video games. Experiments have demonstrated they understand the principle of the joystick and are capable of controlling the cursor on the screen. Fact 78. In Alaska, not only waterfalls freeze, but also methane bubbles suspended within the ice. They manifest as layered white disks, as if chronological progression has been halted. Fact 79. It was once widely accepted that tomatoes were toxic because the plant's foliage does contain poisonous compounds. People feared consuming the fruit for nearly a century.
Fact 80. The largest tree in the world, the giant Sequoia General Sherman, possesses a mass of approximately 1,800 tons. Its total weight exceeds that of an entire submersible vessel. Fact 81. The discovery of vitamins commenced with the endeavor to comprehend why sailors were afflicted by scurvy. The disease was treated empirically for years. Limes yielded therapeutic results, yet the underlying mechanism was unknown. Fact 82. The word robot was popularized by the play from Czech writer Karl Čapek. It originates from robota, signifying labor or forced servitude, drudgery. Initially, robots functioned as a metaphor for the oppressed working class. Fact 83. The Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco is coated in a specific hue of orange, designated International Orange. This color was selected not for its aesthetic appeal, but to maximize the bridge's visibility amid dense fog. Fact 44. There exists a species of spider that exhibits flight capability without wings. It releases long strands of silk and utilizes the atmosphere's electric charge to ascend into the air. Fact 85. In classical antiquity, surgical instrumentation was fabricated from bronze because the alloy naturally suppressed bacterial proliferation. Practitioners did not understand the operative principle but observed the favorable clinical outcome. Fact 86.
In certain African nations, tradition mandates that the wife occupies the right side of the bed and the husband the left. This spatial arrangement is considered so essential that its violation is perceived as a precursor to domestic conflict. Fact 87. Bananas exhibit natural radioactivity due to their high potassium content. However, the dose level is so minute that a single banana is equivalent to only one banana equivalent dose, bead, a unit scientists occasionally use facetiously to quantify radiation exposure. Fact 88. In Iceland, a dedicated agency operates, the ELF Committee. Its primary function is to ensure that proposed infrastructure, such as new roads, does not traverse the established habitats of the hidden folk. The population maintains a serious regard for this mythology. Fact 89. The most acoustically silent location on Earth is an anechoic chamber exhibiting zero echo absorption. After a few minutes in complete stillness, an individual begins to perceive their own heartbeat, digestive activity, and even the circulation of blood. Fact 90. Historically in Russia, a specialized occupation known as the mosquito tamer existed. The labor involved maintaining fire and smoke near major rivers to deter swarms of insects from migrating toward settlements. Fact 91. The term cosmetics derives from the Greek word for the art of ornamentation. Ancient women utilized a mixture of oil and coal to darken the periocular region. That identical foundational principle remains effective in modern mascara formulations. Fact 92. Octopuses possess 3 hearts. 2 of these hearts pump blood to the gills, while the third circulates blood throughout the rest of the body. When an octopus swims, one heart ceases to beat. It finds locomotion easier via crawling than swimming. Fact 93. The Amazon River currently has no bridges spanning its entire length. This is not due to engineering difficulties, but because the geography rarely necessitates vehicular crossings. Fact 94. Bees utilize a directional dance. They communicate the location of nectar sources to other bees by moving along a trajectory resembling the figure 8. Fact 95. Elephants possess personal names. They respond to specific vocalizations used by other elephants within the herd to address them. Fact 96. Zebras appear white with black stripes, but genetically their base color is black. The white stripes represent an absence of pigmentation. Fact 97. Certain plants exhibit explosive seed dispersal mechanisms upon maturation. The capsules burst with force, scattering seeds up to 10 meters away. Fact 98. A designated position known as the wind observer once existed in China. This individual recorded the wind's direction and velocity daily for the local agricultural community. Fact 99. The vacuum of space reportedly smells like seared metal and raspberries. This odor was described by astronauts who detected molecular traces on their spacesuits following extravehicular activity. Fact 100. On Venus, a single day is longer than its year. The planet rotates so slowly on its axis that its rotation period exceeds the duration of its complete orbit around the Sun. Fact 101. In ancient China, initial acupuncture needles were fashioned not from metal, but from materials such as stone, bone, and even bamboo. The metallic versions, more familiar today, only emerged centuries later. Fact 102. In certain regions of England, singing roads still exist. If traversed at a specific velocity, the pattern of grooves generates a distinct tune beneath the vehicle's tires. Fact 103. Japan features vending machines that dispense hot canned food ranging from soups to potatoes.
This tradition arose from the Japanese preference for convenient, on-the-go sustenance that remains warm and comforting. Fact 104. Saturn and Jupiter possess such intense internal pressure that scientific hypothesis suggests the existence of diamond precipitation. Carbon is compressed into crystalline structures directly within the atmospheric depths. Fact 105. Vikings utilized a special solar stone, likely calcite, which assisted in determining the sun's position even through dense cloud cover. This enabled them to navigate the ocean during overcast weather. Fact 106. When an individual blushes, the mucous membrane of the stomach also exhibits reddening. This represents one of the rarer physiological connections between emotion and the digestive system. Fact 107. The fruit of the baobab tree requires such an extended maturation period that local inhabitants refer to it as the fruit of patience. The waiting time can sometimes last up to 8 months. Fact 108. Salt was historically employed as currency. Its value was so substantial that the word salary originates from the Latin term salarium, the price of salt. Fact 109. Corals are not plants, but animals. Their colonies construct vast underwater cities that are discernible from space. Fact 110. During the Middle Ages in Europe, there was a widespread belief that garlic provided protection against vampires. In reality, it offered defense against cholera and parasites. The odor repelled disease vectors. Fact 111. The deepest point on Earth is the Mariana Trench. The pressure is so immense that metal behaves like modeling clay there.
Even submersibles are specially reinforced for navigating such depths. Fact 112. Deer possess the ability to perceive ultraviolet light, allowing them to detect light reflected by snow far more intensely than humans, enabling them to navigate effectively during blizzards. Fact 113. The ancient Romans observed a specific day called Feria. On this day, it was forbidden to conclude business deals, marry, or initiate new ventures. It was regarded as a time for purification and rest. Fact 114. The platypus is one of the few mammals that lays eggs. Its young are not born live, but instead hatch, similar to avian chicks. Fact 115. One species of marine algae is capable of growing 1 centimeter per hour. This makes it among the fastest growing known photosynthetic organisms in the ocean. Fact 116. Some individuals perceive colors upon hearing sounds. This is a form of synesthesia. When a specific musical note is played, the person visualizes a flash of color, as if the brain has cross-wired the sensory channels. Fact 117. The air in the Amazon is so humid that perspiration does not evaporate from the skin. Consequently, humans experience minimal natural cooling there, necessitating constant shade and water intake. Fact 118. In the Far East, fish skin shoes, footwear crafted from the complete hide of a fish, were once utilized. This material was noted for its durability and hydrophobic properties. Fact 119. Ants possess the ability to recognize the chemical signature of illness. They sense metabolic changes in the organism and can subsequently avoid sick conspecifics, preventing the introduction of infection into the colony. Fact 120. In nature, there exists the honey fungus, Armillaria, which covers an area exceeding 900 hectares. It is considered the largest single living organism on Earth. Fact 121. Spiders are incapable of masticating their prey. They inject the captured organism with digestive enzymes, liquefying its internal tissues, and subsequently ingest the contents, leaving behind an empty exoskeleton. Fact 122. Certain domestic plants are sensitive to vibrations.
If frequent conversations occur nearby, they grow faster, reacting not to the words themselves, but to the micro-oscillations in the air. Fact 123. In the Netherlands, cattle are equipped with specialized transponders that allow farmers to track their precise location. This technology assists in locating the animals even during dense fog conditions. Fact 124. Scientists have identified the remnants of a meteorite impact crater beneath Greenland, estimated to be approximately 30 kilometers in diameter. It is concealed by a kilometer-thick layer of ice and continues to influence glacial dynamics. Fact 125. When a human observes fire, the brain automatically reduces anxiety levels. This is hypothesized to stem from the fact that millennia ago, a controlled fire indicated security for the tribe. Fact 126. In ancient Egypt, there existed the profession of the lakamka, taster, a woman whose responsibility was to test the pharaoh's prepared meals for quality, flavor, and freshness. This was a highly compensated and prestigious position. Fact 127. Sea stars can evert their stomach externally to digest prey in situ. They subsequently retract it. This process operates outside conventional biological paradigms. Fact 128. The oldest known bread recipe was found in the Middle East and is dated to an age of approximately 1,000 years. Bread proved to be older than agriculture. Fact 129. Bats are not blind. They possess vision, sometimes quite acute. However, their echolocation is so highly efficient that their visual perception is infrequently required. Fact 130. A tree exists in Tunisia that is over 2,000 years old. It continues to yield fruit. It is recognized as one of the world's most ancient living olive specimens. Fact 131. Bees are capable of discriminating human faces. They memorize specific features, including eye configuration, the angle of the mouth, and subsequently recognize individuals frequently in their proximity. Fact 132. Earthquakes generate sonic emissions. Prior to seismic shocks, infrasound waves are produced in the ground. These are undetectable by humans, though animals frequently exhibit precursory reactions. Fact 133. Within Arab culture, coffee was historically regarded as a hazardous beverage. It was subjected to cycles of prohibition, sanction, and reprohibition. It was deemed excessively stimulating. Fact 134. Orogenic structures are subject to processes of growth and reduction, driven by the movement of lithospheric plates. Some structures undergo uplift, while others are reduced by aeolian erosion. These alterations proceed gradually but continuously. Fact 135. Individuals possessing rufous hair coloration require elevated dosages of anesthesia. Their genetic makeup influences nociceptive susceptibility. They exhibit a higher pain threshold and a diminished response to anesthetic agents. Fact 136. The average marine turtle traverses thousands of kilometers throughout its lifespan, yet invariably returns to the natal beach of its emergence to deposit its clutch of eggs. Fact 137. Tibetan monasteries have employed singing bowls, metallic vessels that generate resonant vibrations, for centuries. These produce a cerebral calming effect, resulting in respiratory deceleration. Fact 138. Ancient Romans postulated that apples possessed blood-purifying properties. This belief was so deeply entrenched that legionaries utilized dried apples as medicinal amulets. Fact 139. Certain elephant populations are capable of discerning human languages based on vocal cues. They identify the adjacent human group, assessing whether it is non-threatening or potentially hazardous. Fact 140.
In Iceland, the majority of the population adheres to belief in hidden beings. Even presently, roads are sometimes engineered to circumvent large boulders to avoid disturbing the perceived inhabitants. Fact 141. Prairie dogs possess a complex linguistic system.
They are capable of communicating to humans details regarding height, clothing pigmentation, and even velocity of locomotion. Their alarm calls resemble compressed verbal reports. Fact 142. Ancient Egyptian frescoes depicted individuals with felines positioned upon their heads. This was not anecdotal, it symbolized reverence for the goddess Bastet. Fact 143. Certain fish species exhibit sexual plasticity in response to environmental conditions. If there is a deficiency of males within the cohort, one of the females will gradually transition into a functional male. Fact 144. The Arctic presents the phenomenon of frost flowers, minute crystals that propagate upon thin ice. Every such formation harbors thousands of wind-dispersed microorganisms. Fact 145. There are bird species that vocalize in duets so precisely synchronized that their acoustic oscillations overlap, resulting in a sound perceived as a single voice. Fact 146. Greek philosophers regarded cheese as a divine gift, a synthesis of fire, water, and earth. Plato specifically extolled cheese as the ideal sustenance for warriors. Fact 147. Fireflies synchronize their luminescence when congregating in large groups. This process occurs automatically. Their biological rhythm aligns, generating a collective, living light pulse. Fact 148. In African deserts, there are locations where the sand emits a deep musical sound, akin to an organ. These are known as singing dunes. These acoustic vibrations arise from the movement of millions of individual sand grains. Fact 149. Leopards possess nocturnal vision 7 times superior to that of humans. Their eyes reflect light via a layer of cells situated beneath the retina. This mechanism produces the characteristic bluish-white eyeshine. Fact 50. The concept of night cheese appears in ancient European manuscripts. It was believed that consuming cheese before sleep induced vivid dreams and resulted in an improved disposition the following morning. Fact 151. Antarctica hosts a blood-red waterfall. The coloration is produced by iron compounds in the water oxidizing upon contact with the atmosphere. This constitutes a veritable natural art object amid the white ice. Fact 152. Jellyfish have existed for over 600 million years. They predated the dinosaurs and have undergone minimal morphological change. Their structure has proven optimal for the oceanic environment. Fact 153. The ancient Romans utilized a type of concrete that increased in strength over time. Modern engineers continue to analyze its composition. The secret to the durability of their thermal baths and aqueducts remains partially unresolved. Fact 154. Rats are capable of laughter. Their vocalization is ultrasonic, imperceptible to the human ear. They exhibit this laughter when being tickled or during play behavior. Fact 155. Japanese culture includes the term tsundere, describing a personality that exhibits outwardly harsh behavior while concealing inner warmth. This concept has been integrated into modern relationship psychology in Asia. Fact 156. Hydrothermal vents, or black smokers, exist on the ocean floor, ejecting water exceeding 300 degrees Celsius. However, due to immense hydrostatic pressure, this water does not transition into a vapor phase. Fact 157. Certain parrot species can live up to 90 years. Documented instances exist where an individual bird has survived 3 generations within a single human family. Fact 158. Iran maintains the tradition of the Thursday of Light. Small flames are kindled in homes at night to invite fortune, which is believed to fear darkness. Fact 159. Male lions engage in up to 20 hours of sleep per day. They expend significant energy primarily during territorial defense and combat, while the lionesses execute virtually all hunting activities. Fact 160. On the seafloor, artist circles, perfectly symmetrical geometric patterns sculpted in the sand, are sometimes encountered. These formations are constructed by small Japanese pufferfish to attract a mate. This represents a complex form of underwater architecture. Fact 161. In seahorses, the males bear the offspring. The female deposits her eggs into a specialized pouch on the male's body, and he then undergoes gestation until the moment the juvenile seahorses emerge. Fact 162. In Iceland, students memorize a poem about trolls, which is regarded as one of Northern Europe's most ancient texts. It is read aloud before holidays to avoid disturbing the forest spirits. Fact 163. During the Middle Ages, mirrors were utilized as amulets against illnesses. It was believed that the reflection safeguarded an individual, functioning similarly to a shield against the evil eye. Fact 164. Certain avian species possess a small auxiliary brain capacity, regions that activate exclusively during migratory periods. These structures facilitate orientation via the Earth's magnetic field. Fact 165. Bees are capable of perceiving polarized light, a spectrum invisible to the human eye. This biological mechanism allows them to navigate even in dense haze. Fact 166. In Africa, there is a tradition of consuming tea in 3 phases. The first is bitter, the second sweet, and the third mild. Each phase symbolizes stages within the human lifespan. Fact 167. Oceanic currents are so powerful that they transport sand across continental boundaries. Occasionally, particulate matter from African deserts is discovered on the shores of South America. Fact 168. In medieval cities, specific silence guards existed. Their mandate was to pacify loud individuals and maintain order during nighttime hours. Fact 169. Horses possess the capacity to recall up to 5 human faces. Even after years, they can recognize an individual through auditory cues, scent, and gestures. Fact 170. The most ancient known rock paintings have been discovered in the islands of Indonesia. They date back over 40,000 years, predating European cave depictions. Fact 171. Octopuses utilize coconut husks as a form of shelter. They stack the halves, transport them, and conceal themselves inside, acting as small marine architects. Fact 172. The ancient Greeks documented musical notes using letters of the alphabet. This method of notation sounds unconventional, but it allows for the reconstruction of millennia-old melodies. Fact 173. Ants occasionally cultivate aphids as livestock. They protect the aphids from predators and harvest sweet secretions, a symbiotic alliance that has persisted for millions of years. Fact 174. In the far north, certain lakes freeze from the bottom upward. A stratum of pure ice initially forms beneath the water before extending to the surface. Fact 175. In certain Nepalese villages, a lamp is customarily lit every time an infant is born. It is believed that the light aids in safeguarding the child during the initial days of life. Fact 176. Sea lions exhibit a gesture resembling a handshake greeting. Upon encountering one another, they lightly touch flippers, analogous to human palms. Fact 177. Iceland possesses geothermal springs where temperatures reach 100 degrees Celsius. For centuries, residents have cooked eggs within these sources simply by submerging them on a rope. Fact 178. Certain shark species are capable of undergoing sleep using only half of their brain. The other hemisphere remains active, controlling respiration and locomotion. Fact 179. Thrushes possess the ability to interpret air movement. They detect minor pressure fluctuations with such accuracy that they can predict thunderstorms hours in advance. Fact 180. In Tibetan villages, there is a customary practice of storing snow in specialized stone cisterns. During the summer months, this stored snow serves as a source of potable water. Fact 181. Whales exhibit linguistic dialects. Distinct pods vocalize songs characterized by varying rhythms and structural complexities. These acoustic patterns can evolve over the years, analogous to shifts in musical trends within the marine environment. Fact 182. The most ancient shell beads are dated to an age of missing number years. They were utilized as personal adornments long before the advent of agricultural practices. Fact 183. Humans possess an intrinsic navigation system, an internal GPS. The hippocampus, a specific cerebral structure, generates neurons responsible for spatial orientation, functioning as minute cognitive maps of the environment. Fact 184. Certain flora can detect the proximity of insects based on localized carbon dioxide levels. When the concentration of CO2 elevates, these plants respond by retracting or shielding their sensitive tissues. Fact 185. Penguins maintain a gift-giving ritual. The male presents the female with the most ideal pebble he can locate, initiating what can be considered their initial mating ceremony. Fact 186. In winter, the ocular tapetum lucidum of reindeer shifts hue from golden to blue. This adaptation significantly enhances light sensitivity during the protracted polar night. Fact 187. In the desert, there exist specialized beetles that harvest water from fog. Droplets condense upon their carapace and subsequently flow directly into the organism's mouth. Fact 188. Ancient Japanese texts document the Seshoseki, or killing stone, a legendary boulder reputed to slay anyone who touched it. The underlying mechanism is attributed to the toxic exhalation of natural gases. Fact 189. The global ocean reservoir holds such an immense quantity of dissolved salts that, if uniformly distributed across the continental land masses, the Earth's surface would be enveloped in a layer approximately 50 meters thick. Fact 190. Certain fish species possess the capacity for terrestrial ambulation. For instance, mudskippers utilize their pectoral fins as supporting appendages. Fact 191. On specific Polynesian islands, a customary rite exists where, upon an individual's demise, the spirit is escorted by a song performed continuously throughout the night. Fact 192. Giraffes produce minimal vocalizations. Their laryngeal structures are configured such that the dominant frequencies emitted are too low for typical human auditory perception, infrasound. Fact 193. Dolphins utilize a form of nomenclature analogous to names. Each individual corresponds to a unique signature whistle, enabling recognition by other members of the pod. Fact 194.
Mars experiences colossal dust storms that can persist for months and achieve global coverage. During these events, the Sun is often reduced to a barely perceptible luminous point. Fact 195. In Norway, there is a cultural tradition of reading crime novels during the Easter holiday. This phenomenon is termed påskekrim, or Easter crime. Fact 196. Greenland sharks, Somnosius microcephalicus, possess a lifespan extending up to 400 years, establishing them as one of the longest-living vertebrate species on Earth. Fact 197. The Amazon River hosts the endemic boto, or pink river dolphin. Their integument alters coloration based on both age and physiological activity, ranging from pale to saturated pink hues. Fact 198. In ancient Scotland, a marital custom involved symbolically binding the hands of the bride and groom. This practice is the etymological origin of the phrase "to tie the knot," or hand fasting. Fact 199. Certain Aeolian sand dunes exhibit motility across desert landscapes, displaying kinematic characteristics that suggest organic motion. Wind drives layers of sand, and an entire dune formation can traverse several meters overnight. Fact 200. The aurora borealis occurs when charged solar particles collide with the Earth's atmosphere. The resulting color is altitude-dependent. Green is observed at lower altitudes, red at higher altitudes, and violet appears near the boundary of space. Fact 201. Volcanic ash and aerosols ejected into the atmosphere following major eruptions can persist there for years. This particulate matter significantly scatters incoming solar radiation, resulting in years without summer on Earth. Fact 202. Pigeons possess the ability to distinguish paintings by Manet from those by Picasso. Experimental studies demonstrated that the birds memorized the distinct stylistic characteristics of the artists. Fact 203. Certain Australian flora are treated with caution even by biologists. The plant inflicts intense searing pain that can persist for months, occasionally lasting up to a year. Fact 204. Ancient Romans placed wagers on gladiators beyond the arena. Their likenesses were depicted on oil lamps and pottery, functioning similarly to collectible cards featuring favored heroes. Fact 205. During the period of polar night, high-latitude residents occasionally perceive that time is accelerating. The absence of a diurnal cycle disrupts established circadian rhythms. Fact 206. The egg of the New Zealand kiwi bird constitutes up to 1/4 of its total body mass. These are among the largest eggs observed relative to the size of the parent organism. Fact 207. Certain African ant species construct temporary bridges using their own bodies. They interlock with one another, forming transient, living crossings. Fact 208. A minority of individuals are capable of discerning up to 100 distinct shades of gray. This rare genetic trait enables a highly refined perception of the visual spectrum. Fact 209. During the Renaissance, artists occasionally utilized genuine pulverized gemstones to achieve vibrant pigments. For instance, lapis lazuli was ground to create ultramarine blue. Fact 210. The majority of the Earth's freshwater lakes are situated within Canada. The nation holds approximately 60% of the global reservoir of lacustrine freshwater. Fact 211. In Indonesia, there are trees whose roots are utilized to form bridges. Local inhabitants direct the root growth across waterways, resulting in viable, living crossings after several years. Fact 212. Certain turtle species are capable of cutaneous respiration, utilizing their skin and even the posterior cloacal area for gas exchange. This adaptation facilitates underwater survival during winter hibernation. Fact 213. Prior to the 10th century in Europe, tomatoes were widely believed to induce insanity. They were referred to as the poison apple, and cultivation was avoided for an extended period. Fact 214. The bear's tongue is sufficiently long and dexterous to allow it to lap honey even from deep, narrow tree hollows inaccessible to its paws. Fact 215. Sea anemones are classified not as flora, but as predatory animals. They immobilize prey using venomous tentacles. Fact 216. In Chinese garden design, stones are regarded as works of art. They are selected based on shape, patterning, and fissures, often treated as natural, living sculptures. Fact 217. Certain avian species possess the ability to perceive the Earth's geomagnetic field as a faint visual glow. This sensory input assists them in maintaining directional fidelity during migratory flights. Fact 218. In the deep ocean, the pressure is so immense that local fauna lack internal air cavities, otherwise they would be subject to fatal barotrauma, crushed. Fact 219. In historical Russian villages, children played a game called the snow bell, where they listened intently to the sound of falling snow. This practice was considered an exercise in perceiving winter. Fact 220. Sharks possess a specialized sixth sense, the ampullae of Lorenzini. These are electroreceptors that enable them to detect other organisms via their minute bioelectrical fields. Fact 221. Certain snake species are capable of aerial gliding. They flatten their bodies dorsoventrally and navigate distances up to 50 meters between trees, utilizing the atmosphere as an unseen trajectory. Fact 222. The ocean exhibits bioluminescence. Microscopic organisms, specifically dinoflagellates, emit a cerulean glow when the surrounding water is agitated. The sea surface consequently mimics a stellar field. Fact 223. In China, there are centuries-old bridges constructed entirely of bamboo. Over time, the structural integrity of bamboo increases rather than diminishing. Fact 224. During migration, bird flocks form complex, wave-like aerial patterns. This synchronized aggregation is termed a murmuration, representing a state of perfect kinematic synchronization. Fact 225. A lake in Africa undergoes periodic petrification. The water is so heavily saturated with mineral compounds that deceased organisms are instantly encased in a mineral crust, resulting in rapid calcification into statue-like forms. Fact 226. Certain tree species communicate via their root systems. Mycelial networks transmit signals, so if one tree is subjected to pest infestation, adjacent trees proactively upregulate their defensive mechanisms. Fact 227. The composition of human tears varies chemically depending on the emotional trigger. Tears generated by laughter, pain, and grief exhibit distinct chemical profiles. Fact 228. Islands in the Pacific Ocean host mass crab migrations involving millions of individuals. Roads are temporarily closed to facilitate their unobstructed transit to the sea for ovideposition. Fact 229. Specific corvid species demonstrate tool use, employing sticks, stones, and even self-fabricated hooks for various tasks. Fact 230. The oldest documented musical instrument is a flute crafted from the bone of a vulture, griffin. It is approximately 40,000 years old. Fact 231.
Snow leopards rarely vocalize with a roar. Their typical sound is a gentle puffing or chuffing noise, similar to an exhalation. They are among the quietest of the large felids. Fact 232. The sea cucumber possesses the remarkable ability to rapidly alter its body rigidity. It can transition from a firm state to a highly pliable one to evade or deter predators. Fact 233. Certain coral species exhibit accelerated growth rates, allowing them to form novel reef structures within decades. These instances represent rare examples of rapid marine ecosystem rejuvenation. Fact 234.
Indonesia produces a variety of coffee processed via zoological intervention, civet coffee. The animal ingests the coffee cherries, and the fermented beans are then harvested from its excretions. Fact 235. Spiders exhibit a cosmic gait. When attempting to spin webs in a microgravity environment, space, they constructed them with remarkable precision, nearly replicating the complexity achieved on Earth. Fact 236. Deserts host ephemeral plant species that germinate only after the initial significant rainfall event, completing their entire life cycle within a span of merely a few hours. They are called the flowers of the moment. Fact 237. Humans are the only mammals that exhibit emotional tearing. In all other species, lacrimation serves purely physiological functions. Fact 238. In northern India, there is a village where every house is painted with vibrant depictions of animals and plants. This serves as a form of protection against malevolent spirits. Fact 239. The venomous stonefish possesses spines sharp enough to puncture footwear and even thin wood. Fact 240. Volcanoes are capable of generating their own localized weather systems. During an eruption, the ash column induces lightning strikes. This phenomenon is termed a volcanic thunderstorm. Fact 241. The shea tree grows in Africa. Oil derived from its nuts has been utilized for millennia. It offers superior dermal protection against solar radiation and desiccation compared to many modern creams. Fact 242. Within the ocean, there exists a sound shadow, a specific depth stratum where acoustic propagation is maximized. Whales utilize this as an acoustic highway, communicating over hundreds of kilometers. Fact 243. Mount Kilimanjaro is experiencing significant snow loss every half-century. While the glaciers are diminishing, the peak itself remains so elevated that its summit cap still appears white under solar illumination. Fact 244. In several African cultures, dance initiation rituals persist. The movements are regarded as a distinct language transmitting ancestral wisdom. Fact 245. In China, there are so-called talking stones. Under specific humidity conditions, they emit a resonant sound resembling a drawn-out vocalization. Fact 246. Male emperor penguins incubate their egg for 120 days without departing the colony. They huddle densely together to mitigate thermal loss. Fact 247. The Gobi Desert contains singing stones, immense boulders that generate sound in response to temperature differentials. Fact 248. Nocturnal moths navigate using the moon, lunar orientation. When exposed to artificial illumination, they become disoriented, causing them to circle light sources. Fact 249. Deep-sea predatory fish possess a jaw mechanism that extends forward like a spring. This adaptation assists in capturing prey in total aphotic conditions. Fact 250. Crocodilians are capable of remaining submerged for up to 2 hours. Their physiology conserves oxygen by significantly reducing cardiac function. Fact 251. In certain African tribes, an infant is named only after they exhibit their first smile. This smile is believed to be indicative of their innate character. Fact 252. Mist over lakes can exhibit nocturnal luminescence. This rare phenomenon results from the reflection of stellar light off minute water droplets. Fact 253. The chameleon's tongue accelerates faster than a Formula One racing car, achieving maximum velocity in fractions of a second. Fact 254. A specific tree species exists in Greece that grows exclusively on the holy Mount Athos.
Access to the mountain is prohibited for women, a tradition maintained for hundreds of years. Fact 255. Scorpions possess the capability to fluoresce under ultraviolet light. Scientists have not yet determined the precise underlying mechanism. It may represent an ancient form of defense. Fact 256. Giraffes sleep standing up in brief intervals, lasting only a few minutes. They will only risk lying down when the herd's complete security is assured. Fact 257. The water in mountain rivers remains glacial even during summer because it originates from melting millennia-old glaciers. This is primordial water, newly formed. Fact 258. Among ancient civilizations, there was a belief that when a child laughs during sleep, they are communicating with their ancestors. Fact 259. A dog possesses over 200 million olfactory receptors. It is capable of detecting a human from a kilometer away solely based on an aerial scent trace. Fact 260. On Mount Etna, lava balls occasionally form. These spheres roll down the slope, rotating and gradually achieving the morphology of a perfect sphere. Fact 261. In certain Asian nations, a custom exists where rice is scattered at the feet of an individual departing on a long journey. This ritual symbolizes an easy path and a prosperous return. Fact 262. The Sahara Desert nourishes the Amazon every spring. Wind transports tons of mineral-rich sand to the basin. This particulate matter functions as a fertilizer for the tropical rainforest. Fact 263. Among the ancient Chinese, a social convention dictated that the longer the sleeves of one's garments, the higher the status. Extended sleeves symbolized the control of time. A wealthy person could afford the luxury of slow movement. Fact 264. Certain fish species sleep with one eye remaining open. Half of the brain maintains an active state to detect potential predators. Fact 265. Reindeer hooves exhibit seasonal morphological changes. During summer, they are soft for locomotion across marshlands, while in winter they harden lithically to provide traction on ice. Fact 266. The moon recedes from Earth at a rate of 4 centimeters annually. This gradual shift in orbital distance subtly modifies tidal dynamics, though the effect is imperceptible to humans. Fact 267. Glaciers in Greenland generate sounds resembling music. As the ice fractures, low-frequency vibrations produce a resonant hum akin to organ tones. Fact 268. Pinnipeds, specifically fur seals, exhibit significant trainability. They are capable of memorizing up to 100 distinct commands, comparable in complexity to those mastered by canines. Fact 269. Windows in traditional Russian izbas were constructed small, not only due to thermal insulation requirements, but also because glass materials were prohibitively expensive. The resulting interior light was diffused, similar to twilight illumination. Fact 270. Subaqueous rivers exist globally. These are underwater currents composed of highly dense, saline water that flow along the ocean floor as slow, concentrated channels. Fact 271.
In deep-sea anglerfish, the males are orders of magnitude smaller than the females. They fuse with the female's body and exist as parasites, resulting in permanent anatomical integration. Fact 272. In Japan, felines are regarded as guardians of prosperity. There is one specific island where the population density of cats exceeds that of humans. Tourists travel specifically to visit this island of fortune. Fact 273. Bears are capable of outrunning horses over short distances. Their musculature is optimized for powerful initial acceleration rather than sustained endurance running. Fact 274. In some plant species, leaves exhibit thigmonastic movement, closing upon physical contact. This defensive mechanism startles insects and aids survival during strong wind exposure. Fact 275. Creatures inhabit the ocean that emit intense blue bioluminescence despite lacking visual organs. Their bioluminescence serves as a mechanism to deter predators. Fact 276. Amazonian tribes customarily paint their faces before a hunt. The design is unique to each family, serving as a sign of lineage. Fact 277. In antiquity, people believed that placing bread beneath the pillow would dispel nightmares. This was a method used to calm the mind before sleep. Fact 278. Certain frogs can survive winter by undergoing complete freezing. Their blood contains compounds that protect cells from structural damage. Fact 279. Giraffes can be heard vocalizing in Africa. Their sound occurs at a very low frequency, rendering it nearly inaudible to the human ear. Fact 280. Trees can exhibit chirality, left-handed or right-handed bias. Their branches grow in a spiral pattern, proceeding clockwise in some species and counterclockwise in others. Fact 281. In ancient Japan, there was a custom of viewing the moon reflected in water, either in a basin or a pond. The reflected lunar image was thought to bring fortune and purify thoughts before sleep. Fact 282. Ants possess a military caste, soldiers with disproportionately large heads. These ants can utilize their bodies to block the colony entrance, functioning as a living shield. Fact 283. Immense schools of fish move with such profound synchronicity that they resemble a single organism. Their movements generate patterns analogous to a slow, deliberate dance. Fact 284. Some butterfly species exhibit transparent wings. While appearing fragile, like glass, they are actually remarkably robust and moisture-resistant. Fact 285. There is a lake in Scotland where the water is so dark that it appears black. This color is caused not by sediment, but by natural peat substances. Fact 286. The kingfisher perceives objects underwater as clearly as in the air. Its eyes automatically adjust their curvature to compensate for light refraction. Fact 287. In ancient Persia, it was believed that individuals who laughed frequently were closer to the deities. Laughter was regarded as an indication of a pure heart. Fact 288. Certain fungal species are capable of glowing in darkness. This emission results from a chemical reaction analogous to the bioluminescence observed in fireflies. Fact 289. In the Amazon, there are trees that walk. Their roots grow in a manner that causes the tree to seemingly displace itself several centimeters per year toward the light source. Fact 291. Octopuses lack bones. Their entire body is flexible, allowing them to pass through any aperture the size of a coin, provided their beak can clear the opening. Fact 292. Tibetan monasteries practice a silent mourning.
For several hours after awakening, no one speaks a word, a discipline intended to prevent mental agitation. Fact 293. The bark on sequoia trees can reach a thickness of 30 centimeters. It is highly resistant to combustion, protecting the tree from wildfires. Fact 294. Certain snail species can sleep for up to 3 years. They enter a state of deep estivation if the ambient conditions become excessively arid. In the Atacama Desert, there are regions where precipitation has not occurred for several hundred years. Nevertheless, even there, microscopic organisms reside. Fact 295. In the Altai region, ancient stone slabs exist upon which hunting scenes are depicted. These drawings predate the Egyptian pyramids. Fact 296. Moonlight possesses the ability to bleach fabrics. In antiquity, women would leave cloth overnight beneath the moon to lighten its color. Fact 297. Certain regal spiders exhibit a ritual of false death, thanatosis. When threatened, they fall onto their backs and freeze, simulating lifelessness. Fact 298. Within the Amazonian rivers, there are pink rays, skates, colored with a soft nacreous mother-of-pearl hue. This is a rare, almost fantastical spectacle. Fact 299. Hot waterfalls exist in Kamchatka, where temperatures can reach 60 degrees Celsius. During winter, steam rises around them, resembling a cloud. Fact 300. In Japan, certain trees are cultivated specifically so that their shadow falls in a predetermined direction. This is an ancient practice aimed at spatial harmonization. With this, our lecture concludes. Good night